And there you are.
Thanks. Hey, everybody. Looks like, when I was growing up, they had a little show called Romper Room. And the announcer, the lady on Romper Room, would hold up a magic mirror and say, "I can see all my friends at play." And back when we were in our little black and white television living rooms, back in the day, we would think that she was actually seeing us. So I see a couple of names showing up, and it's really awesome. Like, hey, it looks like I'm seeing Bob. And that means Bob's calling in from way down south in Brazil. So that's really awesome. And I'm seeing a couple other of my friends at play. So anyway, that's really cool. I'm a one-man show today with some of these blabs. I've had a guest, and when I've had the guest, then that's allowed me to multitask a little bit better. But what you're going to see when we do this blab, and I'm not sure how long we'll go. This might be a 15 to 30 minute blab at the most. But when we do this, you will have an opportunity to send in questions or contribute to the chat here. And so I'll do my best to follow up and pay attention. All right, well, listen, everybody. My name is Tom Nebel. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I've had a full day already of working with people and groups and coaching people to toward maximum performance, teams and individuals. And you may know that part of what I do, part of my gig, is I'm a senior associate with an organization called Giant Worldwide, and we work to build leaders. Well, first we would say become leaders worth following, and then build leaders worth following, and then lead organizations that everybody wants to engage with, whether it's a business where everyone wants to work for, or a nonprofit, or another cause that would would be something people give their time and talent and their energy toward. So along the way, we are addressing common issues that get in the way of our leadership. And today, as you know, the topic that we're talking about is the power of the medium. Now, don't expect me to be an expert on how to make your website look awesome, or how it is you're supposed to tweet and land it perfectly at 140 characters, or anything like that. That's not what I'm referring to here. But what I am going to refer to is the common reality that in our world that is so connected, right? We are connected by text messages and phone calls and everything in between, including this blab. We have these things at the power of our fingertips. So in a theoretically so connected world, you would think that as leaders, we would have greater connectivity with the people that are part of our influence. Ironically, it's almost the exact opposite. And I think part of the reason it's the exact opposite, that our connectivity lags, is because with such a plethora of connectivity options in front of us, oftentimes we're missing the proper way to calibrate how we engage with people. Okay. Now, for instance, you may be very text message savvy. And if you're very text message savvy, you may come to me in a way that may be very, very hard for me to respond to. Or if I do, I may respond very, very inappropriately. We all know what that's like, right? Or we've fired off a text message and we wish we would have fired off an email. Or we sent off an email and we wish that would have been a telephone conversation. Or we've had a telephone conversation, we thought, that would have gone better in person. So that's what I'm going to address in just a little bit here, and I'll show you this simple calibration chart in terms of how to assess how you're particularly going to bring challenge. Okay, now hold on to that word challenge, because I'm going to show you a visual tool. And like I said, in Giant, we've got tons of visual tools. I mean, they're all designed to make some complex issues much more simple for us. And in so doing, we just become a lot better leaders. Some of these tools, actually, a lot of these tools have been just breakthrough tools for me as I've worked with other people in terms of even my own personal health and security. So I'm going to show you a foundational tool. And if you worked with me at all in the past, you know about this one. It's called the Support Challenge Matrix. But you're going to see why, because today when I get around to this piece about the power of the medium, what we're talking about is how do you bring challenge, okay? Not so much how do you bring support, but how do you bring challenge? And we all need to be about the business of challenge, but let me show you why. Okay, so this is what we call the Support Challenge Matrix. I'm going to do my best for this to be something you can see here. But what we're saying is that in any of our relationships, in any of our circles of influence, any of the places where we normally lead, what we are going to shoot for is to become liberating leaders. But the issue is that we have a choice to make in any relationship where we're leading, okay? Any relationship where we're leading. At home, at work, any relationship we're leading. We have a choice to bring high support or low support, right? So that could be what? Emotional support, resources, time, whatever is necessary, okay? I've got a guy who contacted me a couple hours ago, really needed some one-on-one time with me today. He's in a crisis place, okay? So I had a choice right now. That guy who gave me a call, even though I got a full schedule today. Am I going to bring him support, high support, or low support? This guy really needs high support today. So, of course, he's going to get my time, okay? But, again, in any relationship where we lead, we bring high support or low support, okay? We can also bring low challenge or high challenge. Okay, so what is challenge? That means what? Trying to get the best out of each other, moving to a point where we are, we care about someone or a project or a team or whatever, but we care so much that we want to bring the challenge so it is getting better and better. Okay, point of order. I got another friend today who contacted me who's got an issue going on with a teenage child who needs a challenge today, needs a challenge from this parent. And sometime later this afternoon, this parent, because it's part of parenting, is going to be issuing a challenge to this child. To do less than that, because it has to do with the behavioral issue, to do less than that is not a loving thing to do. It's just not helpful. So in all of our relationships where we have influence, we can bring high support, low support. We could bring low challenge or high challenge. Well, okay, we're going to establish that this is what we're shooting for, is to become liberating leaders. This is where the action is. This is where we get the most out of each other. This is where we grow. This is where we have life. So ultimately, we want to bring high challenge and high support. We always say in Giant, we say high support and challenge. Some of us back away from challenge. That's a natural thing for me to do. Back away from challenge and just kind of ride it out, bite my tongue, whatever it might be. It's not a great way to lead. It's safe for a while, but then pressure builds up and then I get angry or passive aggressive. I've been enabling someone, right? I've just been riding it out. Opposite corner of that is when we bring a lot of challenge, but we don't bring support. You see that in a lot of workplaces and in a lot of relationships at home. Okay, so we bring high challenge, like do it because I told you to. This is what you're getting paid for. I'm the alpha dog here. You're the child. You're the worker, whatever, and we get that. Bring low support. So dominating that creates cultures of fear. and manipulation. And basically, we've all about had it with dominating, even though that's kind of the way that's the way the textbook sort of reads sometimes. How do you get in a position to dominate or work people hard, to get the most of them? Can you win that way? Well, yeah. At what price? So I got a lot of talking I can do about that. You should see the TED Talk, the TED Radio Hour on the meaning of work. See the difference between what happens with healthy chickens versus super chickens. Okay, enough about that. Okay, so we're going to shoot for this, but today we're going to talk about how do we bring challenge. Okay, how do you bring challenge? Let's say we want to hold back. You got the teenage child that needs a talking to, needs a challenge. Or you got somebody at work or in your cause that needs a challenge. For whatever reason, we all need challenges, right? I mean, I'm better when I'm challenged, okay? So today we're going to talk about that, but I'm going to show you one other tool before I show you the tool that I'm referring to, which is the power of the medium. Okay, this is what we call our circles of influence. And what we're saying is, as leaders, we influence in all these different places, from ourselves, right at the very center, right? How am I doing here? Okay, ourselves, to our families or our close friends, to our teams, our organizations, and then beyond, our communities. And there's a little subtle arrow. I don't know how well you can see this. Little subtle arrow goes outward, and it's basically saying, start with ourselves and watch the ripple effect emanate. Okay. If we start with ourselves and we're always thinking, how do we bring support and challenge to ourselves, right? How do we liberate ourselves? That's going to show an intentionality that's better than living life accidentally, because we don't want to succeed out here and not succeed in here. We all know what that looks like. Okay, we've been around that before. All right. So what we're shooting for is to become liberating leaders in all of our circles of influence, right? Whether it's ourselves or our families or our teams or organizations, our community. Okay. So that is foundational. And I'm just kind of curious. In fact, if you want to fire in any questions or bring comments along the way, do your, just put those in the message box, and I'll do it myself. But I'm just kind of curious if any of you would ever say, yeah, I know what it's like when I've not gotten it right in terms of bringing challenge, because I reached into my bag of tricks. Okay, I reached into my communication bag and I pulled out the wrong tool, right? So again, it would be the example of, oh, I sent a text message and I wish I wouldn't have, or I received the text message I wouldn't have. Okay, and I'm seeing some responses right now. People, yeah, yes, me for sure. And what I'm going to show you now, somewhere I got it here, is this tool we call the power of the medium. And it's just a little chart to say, okay, let's calibrate properly when we're bringing challenge. Okay, you with me? Because we're talking about bringing challenge to others as part of our leadership. Okay, this is how it looks. Okay, you can see over on this side, we're showing you the various forms of medium, or I suppose I should say media, since that's the plural. And here's what we're saying. To effectively bring challenge, we got to recognize that text messages, that we're going to say that's about a 10% payoff for a text message. Here's what a text message is good for. Hey, could you pick up some milk? 7 o'clock, right? Been thinking about you today. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So it could be really good on the support side. Remember, like a text message. Hey, thinking about you today. Hope it's going well. Oh, you know what? I prayed for you earlier today. Hey, you're an awesome friend. Don't know what I'd do without you. Sure love you. You're an amazing child. Couldn't be prouder. Text message is awesome sauce for bringing support. Okay, and just communicating information. It's not very good for bringing challenge. Like, I didn't appreciate your attitude today, or I felt like I was being disregarded, or I'm really angry at you, or clean up your attitude, right? Or any of those kind of things. Okay. Now I'm seeing, Bob wrote in, and I'm going to respond in Portuguese. No, not really. But Bob writes, if you found that different people need a different challenge, or does it work for all people in all situations? Well, Bob, we're moving targets, right? So we always need challenges. I'm trying to think today if someone challenged me. But I know within this last week, I had a good friend of me say, hey, Tom, can you take a challenge? And I said, sure, liberate me. And it had to do with my body language in a certain situation. So I'm trying to zero in on people and not be as, caught off guard. But we're people on the grow. So we're always going to be needing challenges. But I will say this tool that I'm showing you here, it's a pretty accurate calibration, right? Because tell me what happens. I mean, how incendiary things can become when we bring a challenge just by text message. Okay, I mean, think about that for a minute, or respond. And I'm just saying, and we're just saying, if you want to be a liberating leader, remember that a text message is not a good place to bring a challenge. I know some people have been in toxic relationships where text messaging is how they get along. They do it. They've done it in the home. You're upstairs, I'm downstairs. Boom, 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 boom. It's just not very effective. It can add to the toxicity. Okay. So what's a little more effective than a text message is an email. Again, when you are bringing a challenge. But what can go wrong when you're doing, strictly you're doing a email? Well, you tell me what can go wrong. By the way, I'm seeing that Joy wrote, he says something about, we counseled a couple once that did all their fighting through text. Yeah, surprise. I mean, that's become an easy way to insulate ourselves, but an easy way to, fire little salvos, right? Now somebody else just wrote in, and I don't know if you're all following each other's, but, you can't hear tone in an email, which is exactly right. So a lot of things can go wrong. You can't hear tone. All of us know what it's like to be misunderstood in an email. We said something and we forgot to put the smiley face, right? And the next thing you know, you got, so you've already got a situation where you're like, oh, I didn't mean this, I meant that, I mean this, I mean that, I mean this, and that. Now, email's better than a text because you can say more, and it might be a little allow it to settle a little bit more. But there's other issues too, right? For instance, you're sending off an email and you're bringing a challenge, and the next thing you know, that email's flying around. Look what so-and-so said. And what if you got it wrong just a little bit? They didn't pick up the subtleties of the nuances, or as Joy, you were just writing about tone. They don't get that. Yipes, stripes. I mean, then you got this whole thing going on. So, of course, anytime we're typing something or writing something, you got to remember it could go anywhere. And when a challenge is involved, let's be really cautious how we're going to do that. I see Bob says he's a bad writer, so email, text work out really bad for me. Well, I mean, Bob, yeah, I think you know that about yourself. I don't know that about yourself, but if you have understood that about yourself, then you already have an internal warning system that's telling you to not go that way. Just a word, by the way, along those lines. We do a lot within Giant in terms of knowing yourself to lead yourself. And I will say this: if you're, let's just talk introversion, extroversion. That has to do with how we get our energy. Some of us are more solar powered, meaning extroverted. Let's get out in the world, and the world fills us with energy. That'd be me. Some of us are more internal or battery powered energy people. And depending on your bias, not a hard and fast rule, but on your bias, remember, introverts like written better than verbal. So it's going to be it'd be really common for an introvert to want to resort to bringing challenge by text or by email. Be really, really common. Okay. So be aware of that in your own world, that if you're introverted, you might have an inborn tendency to want to communicate that way. And it could be really hard to bring challenge. Okay. Let's keep looking. Okay. The next one we list here right after text message and email is a phone call. And we know that that's preferential for bringing challenge. In fact, we're going to give it a little higher number, right? Right. We're going to keep going up, and we're going to say, well, that's probably a 35%. Now we've moved down the field considerably. Thank God for the phone and the fact that we can talk, because with the telephone we can pick up more tone, right? Although it's not perfect, right? Right. We all know what it's like to have a phone call drop at the most inopportune time, and you're like, whoa, like to pull that one back, right? Or we all have not been able to pick up subtlety on phone calls and so on. Now, at a very minimal place now, if communication is important, learn the art of setting up a phone appointment. So if you need to bring challenge, you want to calibrate when. It might be right now, bang, I'm calling it up. But this is where those of you who are text message and email, word, typewritten oriented can do yourselves a favor by, okay, lead with that. Text message, can I give you a call? When do you have a chance for a call? And by the way, if within your circles of influence, you learn this language of support and challenge, then we can say to each other, hey, I need to bring you a challenge. Do that by text message. I need to bring you a challenge. You got a chance for a call or whatever. Well, you figure out, how that works with you. But this is a way where you can start to on ramp, to get a little bit better. Okay, now here we're going to keep going. And we're saying 35% a phone call gets a little further, and then what we're saying is a video chat even brings you further, right? And what's our advantages there? Well, you're getting it. Yeah, we can pick up some subtleties here and there. The nuances, I think the tone that we were referring to earlier. So if you're going to bring a challenge, and let's just think in terms of harder challenges. The harder the challenge is, the closer you want to be to being in person. And sometimes the video chat is a pretty good option. We're kind of doing that now. We're, at least you're picking up, some of my stuff, but on a two-way, there's really good options out there, right? I mean, you got Skype, you got, I use GoToMeeting a lot. There's just ways you pick up on that. Now, again, video chat is wonderful. And, thank God we have situations that are better than ever. But, I'm thinking better than ever, or we have tools that are better than ever to communicate with. But when you think about difficult challenges, let's really, the more difficult the challenge. In fact, that's kind of the or the more urgent or pressing the challenge, let's do our best to get closer to face, right? So if I'm going to talk to you about a character issue in your life, or you're going to talk to me, a character issue, or something that is, really important in terms of character development, you really want to go closer to face. Get as close as you can as possible. Told you earlier about a friend today who's going to have a challenge with a teenage child. Oh, it looks to me it's going to be at about an hour. This person wisely made the decision with me earlier today that although this is a text message oriented family, this person is going to be bringing this particular challenge, this particular affront to their child face to face. So that's why the resisting the urge to fire back when something's incendiary with a text message in the long run is going to increase your leadership and your leadership influence. Okay. So lastly, we got in person. Okay. And you can think on this far end of the spectrum, what might that challenge look like? You're relieving someone of their job, right? Or you're breaking up with someone. How about that? How about the text message, it's not you, it's me? That's just wimpy to begin with, and it's just it's toxic and unhelpful. And if you find yourself on some of these bigger challenges that you like I said, by nature are gonna retort or revert, to places of lower challenge, right? You're hurting yourself and your own influence, as time goes back. So, I see B-Dub just checked in, and good to hear from you. Hey, by the way, can I just point out one other thing on this? Then we'll see if you have any other questions, and if not, we'll just pull it back and and come to a close here. But remember, I was pointing out on this support challenge matrix, if you bring low challenge and low support, then we got another place that you go, and we call that abdicating. Okay. And there are times when you abdicate just because you're tired of it. You're like, I'm done bringing the challenge, or I'm done bringing the support. This never goes anywhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I get that. Okay. But what I want to say is you want to be pushing yourself to be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to let this person off the hook. I care about them too much. Okay. So although it'd be really easy, even like this situation I'm talking about today with this friend of mine, it'd be really easy to say, whatever, I'm just going to let this kid do their thing. This person's challenging themselves, to bring the challenge. Okay. Hey, we're just about at the bottom of the hour, and I've recorded this, so we'll throw this up online if it's helpful to you. A lot of you join later on. I got to show you one last thing. In my work with Giant, I work with profits, not for profits. I work with ministry people. A lot of my work has been in ministry, and I want you to know that if you are in ministry, I am just starting another online core group, or you might know someone else. It's a year-long process of 24 meetings with up to 8 other leaders. I've got room in this next one. It's going to be starting in about 3 weeks. I've got room for about 3 more participants. We limit it to 8. And if you want to hear about that or learn about that, then hit me up. You can see my email address there, tom.nebel@giantworldwide.com. And it's the most amazing journey in terms of becoming a secure, humble, and confident leader. And we do this as a team, and we're constantly working tools like the ones that I just described. Be sure, with my other stuff too, Tom P. Nebel, TOMPNEBEL.com is my website, and you can register my newsletter, and you'll know about some of these other things that we're doing. But it's all because I want my fruit to grow on your trees, so to speak. I want to be able to see you really succeed. So cool beans. I'm really grateful. A whole bunch of you joined today, and I hope this has been a helpful 30 minutes to you. Contact me anytime if there's anything I can do for you. Happy to spend a few minutes online with you and share with what I'm learning. We just set up an appointment. And or hey, you can even send me a text message. All right. Hey, best to you all today. You have a great day, and just do your best to be a liberating leader and step into what we're learning about bringing high support and challenge. Okay. All right. I'm out. Bye.